So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to what's going to be like a retro rewind video. What do I mean by that? It's Memorial Day weekend. I know you're celebrating. I was going to post a list of the top 5 movies to watch during Memorial Day. And what do you know? I've already done it. It was back at a time when not a lot of people watch my channel. So instead of redoing the list, I'm going to recut that video and you're going to see it here. So let's get into that. The top 5 movies to watch during Memorial Day weekend. Let's go. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the JevMan316 Pop Culture Reporter channel. I'm your host, as always, JevMan316. That's me on the side, JevMan316 Live. Come over on the weekends, usually Sundays, 10 p.m. Eastern. We watch along the movie while talking about pop culture, talking about movies. Hit me up on Instagram, JevMan316. I talk to a lot of you guys in my DMs there. But what is this video? It is about Memorial Day. Yeah, this is Memorial Day weekend. And as you settle in with your friends and family, celebrating, I thought, hey, I'll dig up this old video, re-edit it, and let you see 5 movies that I think you should watch to celebrate the weekend. But don't just celebrate the weekend watching movies. Think about everybody and the reason that we're actually celebrating this. This is for all the people that have served and have served now and in the past our country, to make it to where we can enjoy movies like that and have the freedom to do anything we want during Memorial Day. So do not forget the meaning of Memorial Day. So let's get into that old video. I'll probably recut it a little bit. Forgive me for how bad I was on camera and about how it looked. This was in my basement studio. Now I'm up here. I cleaned this room out. Used to have my work office and stuff in here. I pulled all that out. Now it's just toys and movies. So yeah, things are going to look a lot different. Don't bust my chops there. Just concentrate on the list. These are 5 excellent movies for you to enjoy during Memorial Day. Let's get into the old video. Let's go. So the first movie I think you can enjoy is called Inglourious Basterds. Oh, wait a minute. This is the wrong one. This is Inglourious Basterds, not Bastards. This is the 1978 original film that starred Fred Williamson and Bo Svenson. I meant this one. The Quentin Tarantino 2009 World War II action epic, Inglourious Basterds, as in turds, bastards, not bastards. In this version, we'll see a Nazi-occupied France during World War II, where a group of Jewish U.S. soldiers, who are led by Lieutenant Aldo Raine, who's played by Brad Pitt, they hatch a plan to assassinate Nazi leaders.
Each and every man under my command owes me 100 Nazi scalps. And I want my scalps.
While the framework of this film is fictional, the backdrop is obviously World War II and is very much true and pretty realistic for a Tarantino movie. Tarantino does paint an awesome alternate reality where the bastards team up with a French theater owner in a combined effort to kill Adolf Hitler. So that's one type of movie. The second one, let's say, is the 1982 drama First Blood, starring Sylvester Stallone. In this movie, Stallone plays John Rambo. Everybody knows who John Rambo is, right? He's a Special Forces soldier who fought in Vietnam, who even won the Congressional Medal of Honor. The movie was way ahead of its time, actually. It presented a returning veteran as a loner in the world, a world that he doesn't fit in, a world that's turned its back on him. It presents a very different John Rambo than what we see in a lot of the sequels. They're more action films. This is more of a drama thriller type movie, even though it's got some adventure in it.
You know, wearing that flag on that jacket, looking the way you do, you're asking for trouble around here, friend.
So why are you pushing me? I haven't done anything to you.
First of all, you don't ask the questions around here. I do. You understand?
In this movie, he's obviously facing his personal demons and going through what we probably would label today as PTSD, but they obviously didn't call it that back in the day. This is a very, very different movie than the other sequels and remains just as powerful today as when I first saw it. And if you haven't watched this one recently, I suggest that you go seek it out and do a fresh watch of this one because it's a really awesome movie. I'm going to pick another movie that might kind of cleanse the palate. On this one, we got the 1981 comedy Stripes, starring Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, and John Candy. In the movie Stripes, you probably already know this, but I'll tell you, Murray plays a cocky, smart-ass taxi driver who's named John Winger. Winger turns into the Army's funniest soldier when he enlists himself and his best friend in the Army. Murray's lovable loser character of John Winger can win at life and believes that joining the Army will turn his life around. His drill sergeant, though, quickly puts him in his place because John never takes anything seriously and doesn't want to put in all the work that's required to become a real true soldier in the American Army. While there are a lot of the usual shenanigans that Bill Murray comes up with in his movies, especially when he mixes it up with the rest of the troops in his platoon, like John Candy specifically, there's a mud wrestling scene that's pretty cool. This movie does have a big heart, and it shows that you can do anything and everything when you put your mind and your heart into it.
Where the hell have you been, soldier?
Training, sir! Training, sir!
What kind of training, son?
Army training, sir! Army training, sir!
John Winger also learns to put others before himself and actually becomes the leader that his platoon needs in the end when something happens to their true platoon leader. So this movie's got a lot of heart and comedy.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
So the next movie on my list is going to be the 1970, I would call it a dramedy, it's drama and comedy, MASH. It stars Donald Sutherland as Hawkeye Pierce and Elliot Gould as Trapper John McIntyre. The movie was directed by Robert Altman. He directed this film, which obviously if you don't remember or know, it tells the story of a medical staff during the Korean War at a field hospital, the 4077th MASH. This film came out a couple years before the television show did, that this inspired the TV show. And I was never a big fan of the TV series. It just seems kind of tame in comparison to this movie. The TV show never really held my interest, but I've loved this film ever since the first time I've ever watched it. I think it's because it's really raw, it's visceral. The comedy and drama elements mix well together. The surgery scenes are kind of bloody. You couldn't see that on TV. They're really realistic. The emotions and the dialogue between the doctors and nurses also seems very realistic of what would happen in this type of situation. It becomes very believable that these soldiers would sometimes maybe act out, be juvenile and do some of the shenanigans that they do to distract themselves from the war that's going on around them. It's more realistic in the movie to me than the TV show.
Give me at least one nurse who knows how to work in close without getting her tits in my way.
I do want to give you a little bit of trivia on MASH, though. The director wanted to write the lyrics to the theme song himself and wanted to come up with something called Stupid, that he called Stupid. So he turned it over to his 14-year-old son. The director, ironically enough, was only paid, what did they say, $70,000 to direct the film. But after writing the theme song, his son, I think, had earned a total from the last I read of about $1 million. So it wasn't so silly, was it? For a song that was supposed to be silly, though, I think it has some very powerful lyrics. So I'm going to mention a few of those to you in this video. Here's kind of like the heart of it. It goes, "The game of life is hard to play. I'm going to lose it anyway. The losing card I'll someday lay. So this is all I have to say. The sword of time will pierce our skins. It doesn't hurt when it begins, but as it works its way on in, the pain goes stronger. Watch it grin." That's some pretty powerful words. So, if you've only seen the TV show, it only had the instrumental version of this. You need to see the movie and you'll get to hear those lyrics. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it ASAP. It's a totally different experience. You don't know what you're missing. I love the movie, not so much the TV show. So in the final film on my list, it's going to be probably a Memorial Day obvious choice. It's probably number one on most people's list of war movies. I'm going to read you the Internet Movie Database description, though, just so I don't do it any disservice. Following the Normandy landings, a group of U.S. soldiers go behind enemy lines to retrieve a paratrooper whose brothers have been killed in action. You obviously know what this is by that description. My top choice of movies you should watch during Memorial Day is the Steven Spielberg masterpiece, Saving Private Ryan. In it, Tom Hanks plays Captain Miller. Matt Damon plays the title character, obviously, Private Ryan. Even though the opening of the film has a framing story around it where there's an elderly gentleman at a cemetery, a military cemetery. Most of the people remember that opening scene where they storm Omaha Beach, where the landing is, and that's most people's most memorable scene in the movie. This scene was very realistic. I read somewhere that some veterans even had to leave the movie theater after seeing it because of how realistic it was and how emotional it made them seeing it, again on the screen. It brought back, emotional trauma. It's been said to be some of the most realistic combat footage that's ever been created on film. Spielberg was a genius. I'm not going to disrespect the film by saying what I think, whether it's really realistic or not, but I will say that the scene is really powerful. It grabbed me the first time I watched it and refused to let go until the final scene was over. If you watch this movie and your heart doesn't fill with respect and gratitude for every last person who's ever served and fought for our freedom, I just don't even know what to say. That's the best thing I can tell you about the description of this film. So let's just say, you really need to watch this film. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Go out and watch it. You just have to. It's amazing. And I guarantee you it'll change the way you watch military films and think about military personnel. So that was my short list of movies that I think you could watch during the Memorial Day holiday to get into the spirit of our country. There's a good variety there. You get hit with a range of emotions from, laughing, comedy, drama, crying, sadness, realistic violence, everything you can think of for the Memorial Day holiday. They're all right here in this small group of films. So I'm just going to ask you, as I end this video, to continue to support my little channel. Do all the normal YouTube stuff, if you will. Obviously the most important thing is to subscribe if you haven't. But more importantly, I need you to stop and pause during this holiday weekend. Stop all your activities. Say a little prayer for the men and women who have sacrificed their lives to keep ours free. And don't forget to also thank all of the people who are currently serving for our country in the military for their sacrifice as well. I want to say God bless them and God bless you all for watching this video, and I hope you have a happy Memorial Day, and please do not forget what this means. Until next time. So hopefully you enjoyed that look back at the Jeff Man 316 Pop Culture Reporter channel when it was the Jeff Man 316 Customs channel. Yeah, I used to make a lot of custom wrestling figures. If you look back at some of my original videos, that's how I started the channel. A mix of toys and movies, and it was pop culture, and then I just rebranded it. So hopefully you enjoyed that video. Like I said, those are 5 movies that I can still highly recommend to this day for you to enjoy during Memorial Day. And I'll just go back and say again, do not forget the reason for the holiday, for the people that are serving now and the people that we've lost. Remember those. And if you are serving, thank you for your service, because it allows people like me to come on here and talk about trivial shit like movies, pop culture, and things like that, that I would not have that freedom without the people that have sacrificed now and in the past. So hopefully you'll remember that too. I love you guys, and until next time, boys and girls, this has been Jeff Man 316. I'm your pop culture reporter, signing out saying you guys be safe out there, especially during Memorial Day weekend. Be safe.